This is an in-depth look at my 112-gallon average reef. At first glance, it may look a little chaotic as a soft coral dominated system with select SPS and some LPS, but I really try and plan it out to the best of my ability to make this a true display tank, a show tank, and not just a collection of nice corals. A lot of times you'll see people with frag racks in their tank and their nicest pieces are there. That just doesn't work for me. I want this tank to be a display. I'm going to go over some of my thoughts and why I set things up the way I did. My power head placement allows the majority of the flow to go at the back of the tank where the hard corals are, and it also brings all the detritus to the bottom right corner. I have an additional power head near the front as well as the return blowing the other way to ensure there are no dead spots in my bare bottom tank. Since it's bare bottom, it's easy to tell if there are any dead spots. I've highlighted some of my select frags, and you'll note that none of them are in the center. This is so your eyes are not drawn to the center and you have to search around to look for the corals, and while you're looking you'll discover other corals. Just because something's the centerpiece doesn't mean it should be in the center. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out like that, as I would prefer the rhizo to be somewhere else, but this is really the best spot for it, in the center of the tank. I also have my three largest pieces set up in a diagonal line of purple, light green, and then purple again. Again, this is a setup that is pleasing to the eye, and behind them there are corals hidden from view. Some of that is a good thing, and some of it's a bad thing. If you were looking at the tank standing up, you'll certainly see this neon toadstool and green flower anemone. However, behind this cabbage coral, it's getting harder and harder to see my dendrophilia. This is a picture from more than a year ago. I haven't seen them dead on like this in a long time. They are still doing well. It's just I can't really enjoy viewing them where they're at. Up top I do have some nice SPS slowly encrusting and growing. This is one of the problems with a tank filled with leather corals. I am hopeful that sometime this year they will poke up high enough that you can see them from the front. If I want these guys to do better though, I'll probably have to remove some leathers. This is the side view, probably my favorite view, but it also shows just how narrow this tank is. I'm currently using all 18 inches, and if I were to get a tank that was a foot wider, all I would do is slide the rock work 2 or 3 inches forward and have 8 or 9 inches in the front open. Here's a nice shot of the left side of the tank. This is where most of my choice LPS corals are. I've tried to arrange them in a way that their colors complement each other. And then there are a few soft corals that have made their way this way as well. Coral placement is very big for me, both so that they do well and look well. The only issue with them growing larger is the chalice, the favia have pretty long sweeper tentacles, so some cutting back here may eventually need to be done. But for now, this side is looking really good. I tried to avoid having too many things at the exact same height too. I'm thinking of removing either the top or the bottom of this cabbage coral, as it's split into 2 pieces. If I remove the top piece, I can place some corals at the top, but if I remove the bottom piece, the dendrophilia will again be visible. it will be a harder spot to fill, so I'm not really sure which way I want to go. I do enjoy having these big soft corals, but they are a real hindrance for SBS growth. You can see that the green leather is really shadowing out everything below it. Fortunately, it's just pallies and mushrooms, so they can handle the lower levels of light. Because the tank is so narrow, it's hard to find a good spot for this piece. And here we have the far right. These Kenya tree pieces are pieces that dropped off from the smaller pieces, and I've accumulated them here. This is another piece that probably could go. I just have to have something nicer to put in its place. After all these years, I still enjoy pulsing Xena, or pom-pom Xena. A lot of people hate this coral, but if you keep it under control, I think it looks good in almost any reef. Here's one more look from the side. If anyone has any constructive criticism, I do welcome it. I'm always looking for new ideas to improve my reef. I'm not one of those people who will keep my hands out of the tank forever. Once a week or so, I'm usually in the tank, and I feel like as long as my hands are clean, I'm not doing any harm. And sometimes moving things a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left is a big improvement. I've really focused on the reef as a whole and not just one particular coral or fish. Speaking of fish, I certainly do need to get a few more. I'm pretty particular on them, and since I don't have a local fish store, I have to order them anyways. That's about it. Again, if you have any comments, please leave them below. Thanks for watching, and happy reefing.